All right, so the next domain that we're going to jump into is the architecture and design domain. And when we start to look into this, there is different views on how people implement architecture and design. There's absolute security and there's absolute access. So there's two different things that people typically will try to shoot for. And one of the things that we're going to just quickly take a look at here is this little funny on the screen. So check out this comic on the screen here. I'll give you a second to read it. It's from a little while ago, but it's still very pertinent to what we're talking about. So I'll give you a second to read that, and then we'll jump back into this. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and it just talks about some of the nuances of what's going on with computing, and just to have a little bit of fun here with breaking up these topics. So typically we talk about architecture and design when we want to talk about the different structures or standards that we can design, implement, monitor, and secure any operating systems, equipment that we have, network infrastructure that we built into place, applications or software, and we enforce those, or we apply the controls via the architecture and design, tightly coupling the impact of an issue or vulnerability to the CIA triad. You may recall the CIA triad. So we implement that, and we take that into consideration, making sure that everyone is ready to enforce the CIA triad. So we talk about the secure operating systems. We talk about anything dealing with the impact on the CIA triad. So that's important. And if we want to jump in and talk a little bit further, usually people will be very amenable to a defense in-depth approach. So typically we'll have or will facilitate this defense in-depth approach where we have some sort of asset in the middle, and from that we will go ahead and put controls in place to make sure that it is protected. So it's a layered defense model, a defense in-depth approach, because typically one size does not fit all with any type of security solutions that we have. Your network's going to be different than my network. We don't have a static setting that we can go through and do. And the threat environment, those threats and vulnerabilities that we've been talking about, have been changing constantly. So we got to be able to equally have robust countermeasures that we can put in place, that we can configure using multiple tools, and establishing different policies within our organization that try to meet those evolving threats. So we practice this defense in-depth approach. And a lot of times in our business, you hear people mention what's called the layered security or the onion approach to information security. So the onion approach is just like you are looking over on the right-hand side here with the defense in depth, but it's dendritic, having circles in nature. So you have your core, or the big dollar ticket that you're trying to protect in the middle, which typically for businesses it's intellectual property or some way that you do something, your secret sauce. So that defense in depth approach really comes in handy, especially when we're trying to make sure that we do our due diligence in protecting any asset that we have.